thought he was gone. The police said he was on the run, but he was never far. He was inside the house, watching. I felt it before I saw him. The silence, the creeping dread. Then my mother texted me, "I think he's here." My heart stopped. Before we could escape, he took us. Just like that. The police came, but we were already gone. No one knew where. No one knew if we'd survive. Go ahead and subscribe as we dive into the next part. The house was too quiet, too still. The kind of silence that didn't feel empty, but full of something unseen, something lurking just out of reach. Emily sat on the couch, staring at the muted television screen, her fingers tapping anxiously against her knee. Her mother had gone upstairs to shower, leaving her alone in the dimly lit living room. A strange sensation crept over her skin, a tingling at the back of her neck, like unseen eyes were crawling over her. She swallowed, turning her head slightly, glancing toward the hallway. Nothing. She told herself she was imagining things, that the paranoia from the past few months was still messing with her mind. But deep down, she knew better. Upstairs, the water shut off. Emily exhaled, trying to shake the feeling. She reached for her phone and checked the time. It was late. Too late. The police had assured them that her father was on the run, that there had been no sign of him anywhere nearby. But the fear never left. She heard the faint creak of a floorboard. Her breath hitched. It came from the hallway. She slowly turned her head, eyes fixed on the darkened corridor leading to the back of the house. The air felt thicker, colder. She waited, listening, heart pounding against her ribs. Nothing. Maybe the house was settling. Maybe it was just another creak. Closer this time. Emily's fingers tightened around her phone. The shadows in the hallway seemed to shift, stretching unnaturally in the dim light. Her stomach clenched. She wasn't alone. Somewhere upstairs, the sound of her mother moving around gave her a sliver of comfort. She wanted to call out, to tell her something felt off, but she was afraid to speak, afraid to make a noise that might confirm what her gut was already screaming at her. Then her phone buzzed. She flinched, her fingers fumbling as she looked down. A message from her mother. "Something's wrong. I think he's here." Emily's breath caught in her throat. Her entire body went rigid. Her mother knew. She felt it too. Her fingers trembled as she typed back. "Where are you?" "Bedroom. I locked the door. Calling the police." The relief was instant. At least her mother was doing the right thing. But Emily was still out here, sitting in the open, exposed. Then she saw it. A shadow moved at the very edge of the hallway. A shape barely visible, blending into the darkness. Her heart stopped. Not imagined. Not paranoia. Real. She wanted to run, wanted to scream, but she couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The shadow shifted again. And then, a whisper. Low, deliberate, right behind her. "Did you miss me?" Emily bolted. Her body finally listened, launching her off the couch as she ran for the stairs, heart hammering so hard it felt like it might shatter. Heavy footsteps pounded behind her, faster than hers, closer. She reached the stairs, practically throwing herself upward, her fingers gripping the railing so hard her knuckles burned. She screamed for her mother, her voice breaking. Before she could reach the top, a hand grabbed her ankle. Cold, strong, familiar. Emily kicked wildly, thrashing, desperation taking over. Her foot connected with something solid. A grunt, a brief loosening of fingers. She scrambled forward, crawling the last few steps before throwing herself at her mother's door. "Mom, open it, open it!" The lock clicked. The door flew open. Emily barely made it inside before her mother yanked her in and slammed the door shut. A second later, a loud bang against the wood. Emily and her mother backed away, trembling. From the other side of the door, he laughed. The banging on the door came again, harder this time. Emily clung to her mother, her entire body shaking. The handle rattled violently. He was trying to get in. Her mother pressed a hand over her mouth, her own breath ragged and uneven. The room was small, offering no escape. The window was too high, too narrow. If he broke through, they had nowhere to go. Emily fumbled with her phone, her fingers numb with terror. The call was already dialing. 911, what's your emergency? She could barely form words. He's here. My father. He's inside. He's trying to... A sudden silence. No more banging. No more rattling. Emily and her mother stared at the door, the air in the room suffocatingly thick. The operator's voice crackled through the phone. Hello? Are you safe? Her mother reached for the doorknob, hesitating. Emily shook her head frantically, but her mother held up a hand, signaling for silence. Slowly, carefully, she pressed her ear against the wood. Nothing. Her mother took a breath, then a loud crash from downstairs, glass shattering, furniture breaking, heavy footsteps moving quickly. Emily gripped her mother's arm. They're coming. Her mother's eyes darted to the window. The sirens were faint but growing louder. He's leaving, her mother whispered. For a brief moment, hope flickered inside Emily. Maybe this was it. Maybe he would run. Maybe this nightmare would finally... The door exploded inward. Emily screamed as her father lunged inside, his face twisted in something raw, something unrecognizable. Her mother shoved her back, stepping between them, but he barely hesitated. His hands were on them before they could react, before they could fight. Emily struggled, kicking, clawing, but his grip was iron. A cloth pressed over her mouth, a sharp, sickly sweet smell filling her lungs. Her mother's muffled cries were the last thing she heard before the darkness swallowed her whole. The blaring sirens drowned out everything else as the police cars screeched to a stop in front of the house. Officers spilled out, weapons drawn, voices sharp with urgency. Go! Go! Move in! The front door was ajar, swinging slightly in the wind. A shattered lamp lay in the entryway, glass glittering under the flashing red and blue lights. The house was eerily silent, the only sound the crackle of a radio. An officer edged inside, his grip firm on his gun. Clear the first floor! The team swept through quickly, finding signs of struggle, an overturned chair, a shattered vase, a broken picture frame with Emily and her mother's faces staring back at them. Then they heard it, a soft creaking. Upstairs. Weapons raised, they moved carefully up the steps. The hallway was dimly lit, shadows stretching unnaturally. A door stood wide open. Inside, nothing. Just an empty room. A window left slightly open, the curtains fluttering in the night breeze. The lead officer's jaw tightened. They're gone. Emily's head throbbed as she drifted into consciousness, her body swaying unsteadily. The scent of damp earth and rotting wood filled her nostrils. A chill ran through her as she realized she was no longer in her home. The soft rustling of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl. They were in the middle of nowhere. She blinked, trying to focus. The dim, flickering glow of a single hanging bulb cast eerie shadows against wooden walls. The air was thick, suffocating. She tried to move, but her wrists were bound, the rough rope digging into her skin. Then she heard it, her mother's soft, broken sobs. Emily's heart clenched. Mom? Her voice was hoarse, barely a whisper. Her mother stirred from the other side of the small, cramped room. Her hands were tied as well, her clothes stained with dirt, her face streaked with tears. Oh, baby. Her voice cracked as she looked at Emily. I'm so sorry. Before Emily could respond, footsteps echoed outside. Slow, deliberate. He was here. The heavy wooden door creaked open, and there he stood, her father. His figure was framed by the weak light, his shadow stretching across the floor like a creeping monster. He looked different, more worn. His face was thinner, his eyes hollowed, but his expression was eerily calm. Too calm. Emily swallowed hard. Why are you doing this? Her father chuckled, stepping forward. Doing what? Bringing my family back together? Her mother tensed, her breath shuddering. This isn't a family. This is a nightmare. His expression darkened. Is it? His eyes bore into hers. Because from where I'm standing, the real nightmare started years ago. Emily's stomach churned. You're blaming Mom for this? Her father turned to her, his smile fading. Yes. Silence. Then he pulled something from his pocket, a small folded stack of papers. He tossed them onto the dusty floor between them. "Read it." Emily hesitated before reaching out, her fingers shaking. She unfolded the top sheet, her eyes scanning the words. Her breath hitched. It was a letter. No, multiple letters. Love letters. Written by her mother. They weren't addressed to her father. Her mother let out a strangled gasp. "Where did you—" "I always knew," her father said, his voice quiet but filled with venom. "All those nights you spent at the church, praying." His lips curled into a sneer. "Praying with 2 different pastors. While I was at home waiting for my wife to come back to me." Emily's vision blurred. She turned to her mother, searching for denial, for a lie, but she only saw shame. Her mother's face crumpled. I made mistakes." Emily felt like the floor had dropped beneath her. Everything she believed was unraveling. Her father knelt beside her, lowering his voice. "You always defended her, Emily. Always thought she was the victim." He glanced at his wife with disgust. "But she destroyed our family long before I did." Emily wanted to scream, to fight back, to tell him he was wrong. But her mother's silence was deafening. Her father stood, stepping back into the shadows. "Now, we're going to fix this. Together." The door creaked shut, leaving them in darkness. Emily's body felt numb. The silence in the room stretched, thick and suffocating. Her mother still hadn't spoken. She just sat there, her shoulders trembling, her eyes locked on the floor as if looking at Emily would shatter what little remained of their world. Emily gritted her teeth, forcing her voice to steady. "Tell me it's not true." Her mother flinched. A tear slid down her cheek, but she said nothing. The words on the letters burned into Emily's mind, each sentence twisting her stomach into knots. Love, desire, confessions of things she never thought possible, things she had never imagined coming from the woman who had spent her entire life preaching about faith and family. Emily shook her head, her breath coming in quick, panicked bursts. "Mum, say something." I don't know what to say." Her mother's voice was barely above a whisper. "You could start by telling me the truth." Emily's voice cracked. Her mother wiped at her face with her bound hands, as if she could erase the past along with her tears. "I never meant for any of this to happen." A bitter laugh escaped Emily's lips. "That's not an answer." Her mother looked at her then, finally, her face etched with something between guilt and pain. "I was lonely." Emily's stomach twisted. "Lonely?" Her mother sucked in a shaky breath. "Your father, he was never home. Always working, always distant. And I found comfort in the church." Emily's throat tightened. "Comfort? I didn't mean for it to go that far," her mother whispered. "At first, it was just talking, confiding in someone. I was lost, Emily. And they listened. They cared." Emily wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand why. Why ruin everything? Why betray the very thing she always claimed to cherish most, her family? "And they gave you money?" Emily's voice was sharp now, cutting through the stale air like a blade. Her mother let out a quiet sob. "I never asked for it. They offered. I was struggling. You were lying." Emily's voice was hollow. Her mother reached for her, but the rope around her wrists stopped her short. "Emily, please." Emily jerked back, every part of her recoiling. She had spent years defending her mother, believing her, fighting against the monster her father had become, thinking he was the only one who had broken their family. But now the cracks ran deeper than she ever knew. A slow clap echoed through the room. Emily's father leaned against the wooden doorway, watching them with dark amusement. "Now, wasn't that refreshing?" Emily glared at him, anger curling in her chest. "You think this justifies what you've done? Kidnapping us? Hurting us?" He stepped forward, his face twisting with something unreadable. "This isn't about justification. This is about truth." His eyes flicked to his wife, filled with something dangerously close to triumph. "Tell me, darling, do you still think you're the innocent one in all of this?" Her mother broke into sobs, her body shaking violently. Emily couldn't breathe. Everything inside her was unraveling. Her father smiled, stepping back toward the door. "I'll give you both some time to think. We have a lot to discuss." The door slammed shut, leaving only the sound of her mother's broken cries in the dark. Emily's hands trembled against the ropes cutting into her wrists. The room felt colder now, the weight of her father's words suffocating her. Her mother's quiet sobs filled the space between them, each broken sound like a knife twisting in Emily's chest. She had spent years fearing this man, building walls inside herself to keep him out. But now, as he stood in the doorway watching her, something in his eyes was different. There was pain beneath the anger, beneath the twisted satisfaction of revealing her mother's betrayal. Emily swallowed hard, forcing herself to look at him. "Dad, please." His jaw tightened. "Please, what?" "Please don't do this." Her voice cracked, but she didn't care. "You don't have to be this person." A bitter chuckle escaped him. "This person? And what person is that, Emily? A monster? A villain?" He took a slow step forward. "You know what I am? I'm the man who was thrown away. The man whose wife gave herself to another while I broke my back for this family. And you always chose her." Emily's heart pounded. "Because I was scared of you." He flinched. She took a shaky breath. "You think I never loved you? I did. I do. You were my father, my hero. But you changed." His expression darkened. "I changed because she destroyed me." Emily's mother sobbed harder, whispering apologies through the tears, but Emily's focus stayed on him. She saw it now, the war behind his eyes, the love that still lingered beneath all the hatred. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "Please, Dad, if you love me, let us go." For the first time, he hesitated. Emily's breath came in ragged gasps as she pulled against the ropes binding her wrists. The room was suffocating, the weight of her father's rage pressing down on her like a vice. Her mother sat frozen, eyes locked onto the man she had once loved, the man who now held their lives in his hands. "I gave you everything," he muttered, pacing the small space. "And you threw it away." Emily's mother sniffled, voice barely above a whisper. "I know. And I'm sorry." The words didn't soften him. If anything, they made him more agitated. He ran a hand through his disheveled hair, then turned sharply, glaring at them. "You think sorry fixes years of betrayal? Years of watching you drift away while you clung to your church and your pastors?" His voice cracked, raw with emotion. "Do you even know what that did to me?" Emily flinched as he kicked over a chair. Her pulse thundered in her ears. They had to get out. Now her mother inhaled shakily, lifting her chin. "Let Emily go. Whatever you want, take it out on me. She's innocent." Emily's stomach dropped. "Mom, no." Her mother shot her a look, silencing her. Her father narrowed his eyes. "You think you get to decide how this ends?" Her mother's hands balled into fists. "I know you still love her. You won't hurt her." His jaw clenched. Something flickered in his expression. Hesitation. Doubt. It was all Emily needed. In a blur, her mother moved, throwing herself at him with everything she had. He wasn't expecting it, stumbling back as she clawed at him, kicking, pushing. "Emily, run!" her mother screamed. Adrenaline took over. Emily twisted against the ropes, yanking her hands free. Her father roared in frustration, shoving her mother off of him. But Emily was already moving. She sprinted toward the door, throwing it open to the cold, endless darkness of the forest. Her mother wasn't behind her. Emily turned, horror gripping her chest. Her father had her mother by the throat. "No!" Emily cried, rushing back. Her mother's eyes met hers, pleading, desperate. "Go!" she choked out. A sickening crack echoed through the night. Emily's world shattered. Emily's scream tore through the trees, raw and broken. Her body refused to move, paralyzed by the sight before her. Her mother's lifeless body crumpled to the ground, and for a moment everything went silent. No wind, no distant echoes of the forest, just an empty, suffocating void. Her father turned toward her, chest heaving, eyes wild. "She did this to us, Emily," he whispered, voice trembling. "She ruined everything." Emily's breath hitched, her pulse a frantic drumbeat in her ears. Her feet finally obeyed, stumbling backward, heart screaming at her to run. But her father didn't chase her. He simply stood there, staring, his face unreadable. Then, sirens. Flashing red and blue lights flickered through the trees. The police. Her father exhaled slowly, then, to her horror, smiled. "See you soon, sweetheart." Before she could react, he turned and disappeared into the darkness. Emily collapsed to her knees, sobs racking her body as the officers swarmed the clearing. Strong arms pulled her up, voices shouting around her, but none of it felt real. Her father was gone, and deep down she knew this wasn't over. To be continued. If you were in Emily's shoes, what would you do? Would you try to reason with him or run for your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below.